So, hello. I haven't spoken to you face to face. Nice to meet you guys. You guys can unmute yourselves. But hello, welcome.
Hi.
So the idea of this is to just, friendly debate, friendly discourse. We have the same views as you guys. Just be respectful, obviously. Um, so we're gonna probably upload this on our YouTube channel, just like the recording of this soon. But we're not going live. We're not live streaming it right now because YouTube was being weird. So, um, it's good to get a debate in. Um, I'm stalling because nobody's here, but um, why don't we just we can start in 5 minutes or so, or now if you guys want. But I had something to say and I literally forgot it. Anyway, like I don't think we really need a moderator, just because just don't interrupt each other. There doesn't really need to be a speaking order or anything after. Everybody just kind of says their little bit. Um, And if I don't know if you guys did this or if because I did it, it applies to everybody. But if you want to not see random people's names and just see the four of us who will have our video on, you can. If you're on a MacBook, which is what I'm on, there's a little arrow next to the stop video button. If you click that, click video settings, and then click the hide non-video participants, you should just see the people who are on video right now. So that should be helpful. So you know who's talking. I mean, for us, it's going to be pretty obvious because my voice is much deeper than Kate's, in case you were wondering. But, um, yeah. You guys have anything before we get started? All right, cool. So,
Okay, so do you guys want to start with opening statements? Okay, you guys can go first if you want.
knock yourself.
Do you want me to go?
Yeah.
Do you want me to go first, or do you want to go
Yeah.
first?
Go for it.
Okay, sure. Okay, so basically, my opening statement is just abortion's wrong because it kills a living human being, and that all human beings should be equally valuable, equally protected under the law, and everyone should be worthy of their life, not just the perfect, planned, or fortunate.
Okay. Cece, do you want to go?
Sure. I just think everybody should have the right to life. We shouldn't be choosing who gets to live and die. Especially the most vulnerable among us. We should be protecting them rather than killing them. And obviously bodily autonomy cannot justify killing an innocent human being because you can't use your bodily autonomy as an excuse to kill someone. Because not saving someone is different from intentionally killing them.
Okay, Sam, if you want to go.
Okay. So my arguments for why abortion should be legal are threefold. Number one is the fact that abortion bans or severely limiting the limit to abortion don't work. Statistics back up the fact that abortion bans don't practically limit the amount of abortions. It just turns them to further unsafe options for the woman and increases infant. If you label fetuses in the infant mortality rate, it increases both infant mortality rate and maternal mortality rate. My second category would be abortion is a right. And that's a more moral argument. That's not necessarily a factual one, but it's a philosophical one. And the third would be the realities of today's abortion practices in conjunction with those two should stay the same. Those are basically the three claims that my argument is going to center on.
Okay, so I'll go. So my beliefs as to why abortion should stay legal and why I believe in pro-choice is similar to Sam's. If we get rid of abortions, that does not mean that people will stop getting abortions. That just means that people will start getting unsafe abortions. And with your guys' logic, that would mean that you're taking away 2 lives instead of 1. And when we say pro-choice, we don't mean we want to abort every single baby. We mean that we want to abort, or no, sorry, my bad. We want people to have the choice as to whether or not they what they have or not. All right, do you guys want to get started?
Yeah, let's get started. Start with illegal abortion claim. What do you mean?
Like, you guys were explaining how, like, if we ban abortion, women are just going to get unsafe abortions, right? I just wanted to address that first, probably.
Sure, I can talk on that. So my case study is the country of Malta, which is a part of the European Union near Italy, and they have actually made abortions illegal. And according to the Malta Independent, the average rate of abortions for Maltese women is between 3.6 and 4.7 abortions per 1,000 women of childbearing age. Now, this doesn't seem particularly high. However, the average rate of abortion in the EU is 4.4. Yeah, 4.4. And so when that just proves that people just go other places, that the frequency is within the EU is the same as in Malta, and that's just people who report it. Keep in mind that it's illegal in Malta, so there are some cases that could be unreported, which could skew the statistic unfavorably for my point. However, that's just kind of that I'm using that to basically claim that banning abortions won't stop abortions; it will just lead people to go to other alternatives.
Do you want to go ahead with that, Cece, or do you want me to go ahead?
I can start it off and then you can.
Okay.
So regarding abortion in the US, I don't believe making abortion illegal there will necessarily increase the deaths of illegal abortions, because if you take into account before Roe v. Wade, women, at least reported that we know, according to the CDC, women who got abortions were 265 in, I think, 1963, and in 1974, 160 women got them, and 39 women sadly died from them. So it obviously decreased as the years went on because of the invention and use of penicillin, right? So now let's fast forward 50 years when our healthcare has obviously improved greatly and our number of CPCs and nonprofits for women across the US has increased to like 64,000, I believe. So these women have other places to go. And we know that 73% of women are pressured into abortions, right? Most of these women are coerced and pressured into abortions. So once we give them better options, I don't believe most of these women would be going to the unsafe options. But regarding unsafe options, only 10% of women who are getting illegal abortions do them on themselves. The other 90% are done by practice physicians. It's the same as the safe options now, the legal safe options, except it's just illegal.
So that's a lot, but I'm going to go into it as best I can. The first thing is you brought up the 73% statistic. That statistic was published by a journal that publishes literal pseudoscience. I've looked into that study. That study is an incredibly right-leaning source that publishes science for political gain. They've also made claims that vaccines cause autism. Also, they only surveyed 1,000 women. As of 2019, according to the U.S. Census, there were 166.74 million women in the United States. So that, by that math, the survey accounts for 0.000006 of women. Also, sorry, Kate's Wi-Fi cut off. Also, the difference in abortions from 1965 to now is contraception and society. Contraception was nowhere near as advanced as it is now, so the rate of unwanted pregnancy is going down, which is why the rate of abortion continues going down. It's not because women, once they get pregnant, have more options. It's because they don't need to have abortions because of the rate of contraceptions being available. Condoms are much cheaper. Yes, that study is incredibly biased. That organization has published numerous pseudoscience articles, including articles that are anti-vaccine because vaccines cause autism. And it labeled itself as subjective.
I wanted to talk about like maternal death rates because we know that when you compare before Wade to after Roe v. Wade in the US, the number of maternal deaths were the same each year. And this changed in the 1960s because of advanced medical technologies and stuff like that. And we even have like the medical director of Planned Parenthood coming out and saying even illegal abortions are safe because of our medical advancements. So when we take into account that the same amount of women have died each year from 1960 to 1973 when it was legalized, and the same amount have died after it's been legalized, I don't see how the claim that many women will die from unsafe abortions is backed up by the actual facts, at least in the US.
Do you have numbers for maternal deaths?
It's estimated 15 to 39 each year since 1960.
From abortions or from childbirth?
From abortions. From illegal and then legal. It's been the same.
I'm sorry. Your claim is the fact that maternal death is at the same. You're saying the maternal death from abortions is at the same rate.
I'm saying that legalization didn't make them go down.
Do you have?
Yeah.
Did someone just say something?
Pardon.
I keep hearing. I heard somebody else say something, and I don't know who said it. But yeah, they didn't go down because also abortion is an incredibly stigmatized process. That's also pretty low.
No, I'm asking like what the claim that if we make abortion illegal will increase maternal deaths.
I didn't claim that. I claimed that it won't stop people from pursuing abortions.
You said at some point you said that women will die from the abortions.
No, I didn't.
Okay. Well then, never mind. And then, okay, I can talk about that point. It won't stop abortions. We make murder illegal. It doesn't stop murder. Does that mean we should make it legal?
Well, there's a difference with abortions. Right now, abortions are legal, and someone can go ahead and get a safe abortion with a very low mortality rate. And if we take that away, people will go and get unsafe abortions, which will kill them. With your logic, that'll take 2 lives.
See, that's what I'm saying. We know from when abortion was illegal before it was legal in the United States because of Roe v. Wade, the same amount of women died from illegal abortions as they do from legal abortions every year. So the claim that women will die from unsafe abortions hasn't been backed up by the facts.
Where's your source for that? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, let me get it up for you. But yeah, and back to my, even if you want to argue that women won't die, I mean, making something illegal, people are always going to do that illegal thing. Doesn't mean we should not make anything illegal. You know what I'm saying?
So you compared it to murder. And that brings up another intrinsic value argument. And can you explain to me, please explain to me why human life is valuable?
Why human life is valuable?
Yes. What
I mean,
what characteristics of human life make it valuable?
It's not, because then, I mean, if you're claiming that it's not valuable, then that would mean that any injustices against humans are valid.
That I wasn't claiming it wasn't valuable. I'm asking you to explain to me why it is.
Why it is? Because they're human beings. And
that doesn't have any intrinsic value by itself. Why is being a human different from being a cow? Why is that different? You can talk. You can, both of you can answer that question.
Yeah.
Because we value our own species more than we value other animals, right? Like just how we would value our own children over other people's children. It's human nature, it's human instinct to value our own species. Like I would value a dog more than a cow, but I would also value a fetus more than a dog. It's not just like, I don't know how to explain this exactly, but human value doesn't just come from being human beings. It comes from our potential and what we can do and how we can better society and better other people and ourselves.
Whoever's making noise in the background, can you please mute yourself? I just saw their name was Abby. We're not doing an open mic, so shh. But The thing is, if you're trying to make an argument that that human value is subjective, that doesn't seem to contradict. Like, just because you value human life doesn't make it universally valuable. Like, there are people who would make the argument that human life isn't intrinsically valuable. And what you're saying is subjective, right? You can't say you value a fetus more than a dog and claim that's the human standard. I'm asking for an argument on why human life is intrinsically valuable.
Yeah. And I understand what you're saying, but all morals are subjective. I mean, all of our laws, all of our morals are based on subjective, because anybody could come around and say, well, humans aren't valuable, I should be able to kill anyone. Like, that's a subjective view. We can argue that any morals are subjective.
Yes, but what is your moral thinking for thinking that humans are valuable? What is your moral thinking? What is your ethical thinking?
Can I read you something?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. It's kind of long, but I typed it up,
No
and I
problem.
just kind of wanted to get the full picture, because I won't be able to say it just off the top of my head.
No problem.
Human life is arbitrarily valuable, person or not. All human lives matter, not just developed ones. And this is obviously a subjective view, right? But okay. Because human life is so rare, the fact that you want to take someone's life away just because at that moment they can't feel anything, and this is going off what someone else said, so I'm not trying to assume what you're saying, doesn't all of a sudden make it right. You cannot value human life with thoughts if you can't value them before they have thoughts too, because everyone used to be in the womb. There's no point in valuing human life with personhood if you can't value them at the most vulnerable state. They were the same human being, just less developed. Development does not determine your value, because otherwise what's to stop us from valuing certain born lives over others? So in regards to the animal thing, that is a whole different debate, first of all, because we were talking about human lives.
Oh, I'm not trying to debate veganism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm, but I'm saying, I'm sure, like, a mother with an unborn baby values their baby more than a chicken. But your value isn't based on what someone wants you or not. If you are an innocent human, you are valuable. Our personality and thought process makes us humans special. So would you value the life of Ted Bundy is what I'm asking you.
What?
Ted
I'm
Bundy.
not talking about valuable human life. And yes, first of all, yes, I don't believe in the death penalty. That's a whole different thing. But
Yeah.
that's a lot of statements and not a lot. Like, what characteristics of human life make it valuable? That's all I'm asking you.
Being a human being. That's the characteristic.
No,
I mean,
what physical characteristic?
being a human being.
Well,
Being an organism of the species Homo sapien with the active develop along the path of human development.
what do you mean by physical characteristic? Or what makes us
A brain or a heart or etc. Or is it more of a moral compass thing for you guys?
For me personally, it's what I just said.
Okay.
Just the fact that you're a human gives you intrinsic value
Yes.
because you're human.
Yes.
That's not a moral argument. That's just giving something value for no apparent reason.
That is a moral argument. It's not giving it for no apparent reason. The reason is being a human. I mean, what species do you know that doesn't take care of their own species first?
Praying mantises eat their partners. They don't take care of their own species. Taking care of your own species. Taking care of your own species is an inherently human ideal. It's not reflected throughout the entire animal kingdom.
praying mantises don't have morals though?
So you're saying humans are special because they have morals?
No, I'm saying part of the reason why we value humans is because of our morals. It's natural instinct to value humans. It's not to just kill them.
So why are there murderers if it's natural instinct? Why would anybody take a human life if it's natural instinct to care for humans?
Because some people are psychos and they don't see that.
You can't claim something is natural instinct, and if not everybody has the same instinct.
Well, it is natural instinct. Some people commit suicide and yet we have like self-preservation. Most people want to preserve their life.
Okay, but you can't just say that every single human being has the same instinct and same moral compass. That's just that doesn't add up.
I'm talking about society as a whole, not the individual people like murderers and rapists and all that.
Yeah, I don't think she's arguing that every single person has the same instinct, but it is a human instinct, like as a whole, as a species, to want to protect other humans over other species.
Okay, but let's take that hypothetical. Every single human's brain is built differently.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
not everyone has the same human instinct that you're talking about.
but the vast majority of us do. I mean, the vast majority of us would say that it's wrong to kill other people, right? I mean, you guys would argue that
That's
too.
a social. That's a social construct. That's immoral. We've been imprinted with that, like it or hate it.
To some degree, yes, but like,
No, it's not to some degree. It's facts.
I mean, even the earliest humans, the earliest humanoids, didn't just kill people to kill people. There was always like a reason, even if it was like to conquer land, to, get food. I mean, that's a different situation. I'm talking about just killing to kill. Usually we want to preserve the humans. And I also think that this is a moot point if you're not going to argue that no humans have value. If you're not going to argue that no humans have value, why are you, I know. So why are we talking about why humans do have value?
Because I was hoping you'd give me a better answer than that.
Wait, can I just ask
But
you how you value human
That's my
life?
point.
Is
Consciousness,
there not
consciousness
your
and rationality. Fetus
what?
isn't either.
Wait,
That's,
can you
that's that in my mind. That's what separates human from other species. The ability to be conscious, the ability to be rational, the ability to
the,
conceive
the
moral.
ability,
Don't have
right? The
moral
ability.
rationality.
They have the ability though. They
No,
have
they
the
don't.
ability.
No.
Fetuses don't have brains until 13 weeks.
Well,
You
that's
can't, you
not
can't be
true.
conscious or
well
rational,
But
their neural tube starts developing at
but
6
they
or
don't have the
9.
organ of a brain.
Okay, we're
How can you be
but
how can you be a conscious person without a brain?
you can't
but
be.
your capacity, you can have the capacity to do that with time. And
Yes,
that's
but you don't have it.
They don't have
no,
it.
they have the
You
capacity.
don't have consciousness.
The
Every
capacity to do
person has the
anything.
capacity
They
to
also have
lie.
the
They don't
capacity to kill
have
people. Like
consciousness.
anybody has the
I
capacity to do anything. That's the
okay,
question.
if you're going to argue that because they don't have it at that moment, then why can't we kill people that fall unconscious?
Because
If
they
I
are
say,
because
why
they're
can't you kill
rational
me?
beings. They're still rational beings.
They have the capacity to
No, they
read.
are rational. They are primitively rational. If your
No,
brain
they're not.
if you're in a coma if you're in a coma, you're not conscious, but you're rational. You're still alive. You're still breathing.
You still have a beating heart. You still have a
You
functioning brain.
define rationality as being alive.
No, I'm defining rationality as having a working brain that can keep your body alive, that can use your organs and such to actually work.
Okay, so what about PVS patients that can't? Some people just have activity in their brainstem, so they cannot keep their lungs beating, so they have to go on ventilators. But they're still technically wrong to kill if you know they're going to wake up.
Wait, I don't know what PBS stands for.
It's
What condition are you talking about?
persistent vegetative state, like comatose patients.
Okay, yeah, but if you're in a coma, your body is keeping yourself alive. They're also
Not if you're on
they're
life
also
support. Not if you're on life support, you cannot keep yourself alive. And there's been patients,
which is why
Which is
my
what the
point
option to
is
pull the plug.
No,
but if
again, it's a
you can't
choice.
pull the plug. You can't pull the plug if you know they're going to wake up. You're
That's
not
which
allowed.
we like fetus.
that is not held to be the case in the court of law.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
If we know that a patient's going to wake up in let's say 24 weeks, but they need life support at this moment, it would be unethical to kill them. Which is
Unethical and illegal are two different things.
okay, it would also be illegal. I mean, like you could be charged if you were a doctor and you took them off life support.
There are laws in multiple states that give the hospitals complete discretion to keep people off of life support. Life support can put people quicker.
Not if you know that they will wake up in a relatively short and predictable amount of time.
24 weeks is not a relatively short time.
It is relatively short, yes.
To what? Relative to what?
Relative to years. I mean, if you know your husband is gonna wake up in 24 weeks, would you be like, oh no, that's too long? I mean, it's a relatively
Yes.
short. Sorry?
If I was in poverty, if I was in deep, deep poverty and was going to be sent into literal debt because of these medical bills, yes, I would. Unfortunately, yes, that's the reality. And
Okay,
that's the real equivalence because many people are just
but then
having
we're
abortions
talking
because
about valuing money over human life, and is that really where we want to get to? You're saying that you would kill
It's not a matter
someone.
of valuing
that's the reality.
that's a hard decision because you
Yeah,
cannot
no one's going to
afford.
take a decision, but that's the reality.
That's so we should just say, yeah, money's more important than this person's life. I mean, that's a moral argument.
Another topic for
If the
another
person's in
debate.
the
If you
power,
want to
yes.
set up a debate for that.
I'm just saying, should we value money over human life?
That's a completely another topic for another debate.
That's what you're arguing.
Arbitrary circumstances.
You're saying that if it costs too much money to keep this person on life
Okay,
support, I should be
let's
able
take
to.
this hypothetical. Right? Let's say
you
you go into extreme debt because of those bills that you're charged keeping that person on life support. You're gonna go to jail because you cannot pay those dues. So
Okay.
that's basically your life.
Okay, I wouldn't argue that people in jail don't have a life, but that no matter how horrible the consequences are for you, it's still putting money over a human life. And I'm just asking you guys if
But that person has no option. Let's take that hypothetical. That person would have no option to save that person if they did not want to go to jail.
And you think going to jail is better than, I mean, it's worse than killing someone?
To some people, yes, that's way worse than killing. Like in that certain situation, that's not.
You also have to keep in mind. Sorry, Kate. You also have to keep in mind the fact that like it's not just like it's not just like valuing money over like some random person on the street that you're gonna just shoot. Like that the lives aren't equivalent in this situation. If you literally cannot be held alive without artificial means, that's not the same. That's a false equivalency.
Yes. No, I'm not.
Yes, you're valuing your financial future of 20 plus years over someone who can't even speak who can't even stay alive without artificial support. Yes. Like I would make the argument that
I'm not comparing
financial future is important.
Okay, yes, I understand that. And I'm not comparing it to shooting someone random off the street, but it's highly unethical to kill someone if you know that they will recover in a short period of time and predictable period of time. I mean,
you can't pay for that person's life support.
then that's value. I'm saying that's value money over a person's life. And I mean, I guess you could argue that's fine, but I think that's completely wrong.
It's not. Cece, you're on mute. Just if you were trying to say something. I saw your lips moving, but it's not they're not equivalent. It's not really it's valuing someone's artificial life. Like if someone's alive on life support, they're alive because of life support. It's life support. It's not like, oh yeah, we're just gonna like let this person. It's not like, oh, this person's in the hospital for like minor tooth surgery or something. Like
Okay.
It's not killing someone. It's a natural death, which is what you guys said against bodily autonomy.
Okay, let's take money out of the equation. You think it's okay to kill someone or to take someone off life support, let's just say that, if we know that they're going to wake up in 24 weeks.
You can't take money out of the equation in that. It's not an
okay. Then you have all the money in the world to pay for it. I'm just asking, do you think that's okay?
If you can pay for it, no. If you can't, yes. Which is why I think abortion's circumstantial too. Like these
are you going to monitor every woman, and if she has the money to pay for the child, then she shouldn't get an abortion? Because if you're not, then that's a moot point.
What?
Huh?
I mean, if you're arguing that it's okay to abort because she doesn't have enough money, then are you saying it's not okay to abort if she does have the money?
No.
Okay, then why are you even bringing it up?
We're trying to give the option, the choice.
The point is they're both circumstantial. They're both circumstantial. That's why I brought it up, because they both rely on other underlying factors.
But you said it's okay to take them off life support if they don't have the money, but it's not if they do, right?
There's a whole lot of other circumstances that I could cover that I don't want to cover because there are circumstances where that's not okay. Like let's say this person on life support is abusive. Is abusive and causing physical trauma and mental trauma. Yeah. But like I don't have any of this stuff written down, but like there are circumstances where it's okay and circumstances where it's not. That's just the same thing as abortion.
Okay, so what are your circumstances for abortion that you think it's not okay?
Poverty. Wait,
Not okay.
not okay. Not okay. Again, this is a personal this is the issue of personal ethics, right? Like, it's not like at the end of the day, I'm not the one having the abortion. It's and
Okay.
my ethics don't apply to someone in Texas. The reason why I think an abortion is okay and abortion is not okay shouldn't apply to that.
But we could argue that for any legal thing. I mean, we could argue that for anything. I could say I don't think robbery is anything to worry about, so everyone should be able to rob people. And if you can just choose if you want to or not.
That's not.
There just has to be a line. I mean, you can't just say people can do whatever they want.
Yeah, there is a line. There's a line for abortions right now. It's 24 weeks in every state except Virginia, which is 25.
But there's no ban for why. We have sex selective abortions. We have abortions based on albinism. We have the woman who was a Yale art student and decided to impregnate herself and then abort to use the fetal body parts for an art project. There's no like block on for why. Do you think that there should be any sort of ban on why you're getting the abortion? Should girls be able to be aborted just because they're girls?
No one said that. Let's just.
I'm asking you.
We're saying that the option should be there. The choice should be there. No one's saying like
even for sex selective abortion.
People who abort. People who also sex. I don't know when sex is. When is sex predominantly shown? Like
you
what
can find out by genetic testing as early as you want.
Okay, but
you can find out by ultrasound after 16 weeks.
Yeah. Okay, but most abortions are. Let me pull up the stat. Most abortions are performed before 13 weeks. 91% of abortions are performed.
You can still find out sex before 13 weeks by genetic testing.
Okay. Most of these are private institutions who have their own regulations too. Like the government can't regulate. Like if as long as the policy is legal, you can't regulate what a private business chooses to do. Like Planned Parenthood is government funded, but it's private.
But there are no regulations for sex selective abortions.
Yes, exactly, because it's a legal procedure.
I mean, there just was one passed in Mississippi, but
because it's a legal procedure.
I'm just asking you guys. Yes, but I'm asking you, is it okay to abort just because the baby is a girl? Or should that be something that's regulated?
I think Henry VIII would be happy, but sure. Why does that matter?
So it's fine to discriminate against women in utero?
That's not discrimination.
Aborting based on sex
having a specific
targeting.
They're not being denied it. I'll rephrase that because that's not true. But I don't think fetuses have intrinsic value. Like I've already established that point. I don't think fetuses have any moral standing because they don't have moral standing. They objectively don't have moral standing because they can't fulfill duties to society, which is also the definition of legal personhood. In order to establish legal personhood, in order to establish legal standing and legal personhood, you have to have duties, and fetuses have no duties.
Duties?
Duties.
What duties does a newborn have?
Hold on, I wrote this down. Let me read the definition of legal personhood. The term person bears special meanings in the U.S. Constitution. In order to make contracts, hold property, you must be a legal person, and most importantly, the legal persons are sole bearers of rights and duties. That's what a legal person means. A newborn, if you put a gun in a newborn's hand and they kill someone with it, they're still liable. Fetuses have no capability to do anything, and that's just a legal truth.
I mean, but that also makes no sense. I mean, like, what's the difference between a 22-week-old fetus in utero and a 22-week-old premature infant? I mean, what is the difference? Location?
A premature child is born before 24 weeks, which is the limit for abortion, also that means they're probably not likely not to survive. Just like
there have been as early as 21 weeks. So I'm saying, what is the difference between a 22-week-old fetus and a 22-week-old premature baby?
there isn't one
So why does one have personhood and one doesn't?
because of the way personhood has been set up. If you're
So
born,
it's
if you are in the world, you have capability to perform rights and duties that you don't have in utero. That's just like practicality.
I mean, like, being born doesn't give you some magical powers.
Being born gives you the capability for physical interaction with others.
You can have physical interactions with a baby in utero. I can poke my daughter's feet. She'll kick back. You can use a flashlight, put it in your belly, and they'll follow the light. I mean, you can have physical
that's not the same thing.
That's two completely different situations.
There's physical interaction.
If you cannot touch other people in utero. You cannot
What about the
you cannot interact.
What about fetal surgeries?
That's not
where they do surgery on the baby and then they close the womb back up and put them away. So it was a person in those 10 minutes that they were doing surgeries,
entitled
but
to
then it wasn't a person and they put them back in.
It's entitled to legal personhood in that 10-minute surgery because it is capable of performing duties, and then it's not. It's the same reason, like,
I mean, that's just a ridiculous statement.
Okay,
You say they have personhood for 10 minutes and then you put them back inside a uterus and it's just gone?
Yes.
Yes. No one's trying to say gone. People are trying to say that you can't have that.
The definition of personhood is being able to perform duties. You can't perform duties in a womb.
Personhood is very subjective. It's been changed throughout history.
It's subjective. It's a legal term.
And the legal term has been used throughout history to discriminate and to exclude certain human beings from giving them personhood and giving them rights. So why is this any different? Why shouldn't personhood apply to all?
When black people were enslaved, they were still rational and conscious.
But they weren't legally considered persons. That's the difference. You're using a legal definition that's been changed to discriminate, and it's still being used to discriminate. Why shouldn't personhood apply to all human beings? So we can not discriminate against any and give equal rights to all.
Because, again, fetuses are not rational and conscious, which does not entitle them to personhood.
There are people that are not rationally conscious either that still have personhood. I mean, that's
not true. If you are rational and conscious and can perform rights and duties, you have rights. You have rights as a legal.
Really quick, Cece, if you want to make like statements and stuff like that, do you mind just like saying them here so we don't have to keep opening the chat?
Sorry, they weren't letting me talk. I'm just asking why you guys are using legality to determine what is right and wrong. We're literally trying to change the legality. That's not what we're arguing right now. We're trying to argue ethics, not morals. Ethics.
Not morals?
Not morals.
ethics.
Exactly what you're talking about.
Let me turn up the volume. I might have misheard you. If you're talking in the chat, I'm not really looking at it, just so you know.
Yeah.
But, sorry, can you repeat that?
I'm saying, why are you guys talking legality? Like, you can't do anything in the womb. You have to be out of the womb. Because then first of all, you would have to be okay with killing a fetus in the womb 2 minutes before they're born, which you guys shouldn't be okay with, because that's just, anyway.
Can't do that.
No, sorry.
They're allowed to do it. Partial birth abortions are allowed in Illinois. So it's allowed up till birth in 6 states and Washington, D.C.
Sorry.
But I'm just talking.
Keep going.
Okay. I'm just saying, why are we not talking ethics right now, and instead we're talking legality? Because we're literally trying to change what the law says. Because personhood is, first of all, subjective. It's a philosophical term. That's what the law based it off of. But it's different to each person. And for biology, it is actually objective. Biology, it just says a person is an individual human.
Sorry, I just had to mute somebody.
Yeah.
Two things. I want to make something clear. I want to say something. I think the current restriction on abortion, which is like the 24-week Roe v. Wade decision, is what should be the precedent. I agree that like partial birth abortion is wrong. I do agree with that. I'm talking about solely. I mean to be talking. I actually do mean to be talking ethics in senses of legality. Like the claim that I'm perceiving from you guys, and correct me if I'm wrong, is the fact that fetuses are entitled to equal rights and protections under the law. Is that what you guys are trying to say? Yes, that's what you're trying to say. So I'm bringing up what entitles someone to equal rights and equal protections under the law, and that is the fact that rights and that you need to have standing and you need to have liability. Standing is the capacity. Legal standing is the capacity to hold rights, and liability is literal liability. The ability to take something. I don't know. I defined it here. Liability is the ability to take responsibility for your actions.
Okay, so why are
That's what entitles you to rights in a society. That's why we have rights.
but all people that have rights are born, and you're saying a person has to be born to be a person, but then you're also saying you're against it if it's like up till birth, which you shouldn't then because they're not a person.
I'm talking about strictly from a legal perspective. I'm not. This doesn't correspond with my ethics. It's just a contradiction. Like that's how you are entitled to rights under a society. Who's on camera? That's not Kate? Yeah. Okay. Did Kate leave?
I have no idea.
Yeah. So sorry, but let me just type something in the chat really quick.
Yeah, I'm sorry I missed what you said. I was looking at the chat. Oh.
A pig, gorilla, and many other animals. Will a pig and gorilla... Okay, you know what, never mind.
Wait, hold on. Sorry, my Wi-Fi keeps like acting weird. Continue.
Okay. So yeah. Sorry. Now that that's out of the way, where were we?
I think... Okay, so you were talking about ethics as if it was the same as morals, but they're not the same, because I'm just saying that why are we not talking ethics? Why are we talking morals instead of ethics? And why are we talking legality instead of ethics? Because ethics is what we really should be focusing at the moment, not legality, because that's what we're trying to change, and not your own personal beliefs.
I was talking about social ethics, and what entitles people to rights under society. And that's a very that's a very ethical argument. The fact that it's not an objective fact what I've been saying. Like I'm sorry if I tried to portray it as one, but rights and standing and liability is a very ethical term, but it happens to make up our legal system.
I really did not hear what you guys were talking about before, so I'm sorry. I don't have anything valuable to contribute.
Kate, do you have anything?
No, I wasn't here to. It was cutting out before like I left, so I didn't really hear what you were saying either.
You guys want to talk about another aspect of it? We can talk about like we can talk like you can talk about hypotheticals all you want, right? Like I think the real issue is like the real issue is both ethics and morals are subjective, and like
And there's a lot of opinions on both.
yeah, in my view, as long as there's an exception, there shouldn't be a rule in terms of legal issues, or at least those exceptions should be accounted for. So, which is why abortion bans are so dangerous, because it's often a life. If it's often a life or death. I'm not gonna say often. It's sometimes it's a life or death situation, both in actual childbirth or after childbirth. Because if you take into account the poverty line, I have a stat. Let me pull it up. According to a study, women denied an abortion almost had 4 times greater odds of a household income before the federal poverty line and 3 times greater odds of being unemployed. That is a life or death situation. It's just not in the same context we usually talk about it.
Yeah, and I think that definitely things should be done along with abortion bans like maternity leave, anti-discrimination against pregnant women laws, just more support in general. I don't think the solution is to say it's okay to kill our children. I think the solution is to make sure that women are not discriminated against because they're pregnant. Women aren't disadvantaged because they're pregnant. Let's actually make women equal without having the legal option to kill.
But but increases in maternity leave aren't going to change the fact that you're unemployed.
And that's why I said anti-discrimination laws too.
But it's not just discrimination because they're pregnant. Like some people are just unemployed. Like assuming everyone is unemployed because of discrimination is
No. Sorry, I was specifically referencing women that are like fired because they got pregnant. Like stuff like that. That's why they're unemployed. And if you want to talk about just employment in general, then there should be more help for women finding jobs.
Okay, I'm also going to make shoot. What was the first thing you said? Oh, I don't remember.
I can't even remember.
There are some jobs that you can't do while pregnant. Like you can't work construction while pregnant because it's dangerous for you.
Yeah.
So
No.
like I'm not by no means. Please don't interpret this as saying you should be fired for being pregnant because that's obviously not the case. But there are some realities where you can't work a job because you're pregnant. Like you just simply can't because you might you might like slip and literally die. Like
Yeah.
like you can't like assemble a building while pregnant.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But I mean, does that really justify killing a human being because they can't work that specific job? I mean,
Well, for some people, they rely on that job to live. So yes,
I know we could help women find other jobs. Plus, there are pregnancy resource centers out there that will give women $25,000 to pay their rent, their food, all this stuff. There are ways to help women besides just saying, oh, well, you can always kill your baby. I mean, like, there are ways to help so we don't have to put women in that situation. And those things should come along more with abortion bans.
Assuming that's available to everyone is
Yes.
not practical. That's not going to be available to everybody if it's implemented. It's just not.
Usually for those types of things, first of all, they don't accommodate everyone. No, not everybody can get it. Second of all, you usually have to apply for it, which means you have to wait up to months on end to get that paycheck. That's how most. I have a source for that.
You guys should check out Let Them Live organization because they literally they pay like your rent themselves. They pay that directly. They pay your landlord directly. They buy you groceries or put it on a card. They pay all those things directly. They give you $25,000 to go towards any of the things that you need. And then after that, they give you like anything you want on your baby registry.
So we're gonna turn it entirely to the free market and let private organizations do everything. Because otherwise programs like that cost taxpayer money, and the same people who are anti-abortion are against raising taxes to pay for things. So that likely will not happen.
We're both leftists.
Right, but for majority of pro-lifers, that's not the case.
The people in government pushing for the end to abortion are Republicans. Regardless of whether or not that's the case for you, that's the case for the breakdown of American politics.
Yes, but right now we have those even if you don't want to put government funding into them, right now we do have private organizations that do that stuff.
The free market can't solve all our problems.
No, I'm not saying it can. I mean, we can talk about free markets if you want, but I'm just saying that if we're going to argue that women have all these issues and they won't get solved without abortion, we can look at the things that do solve some of those problems that are already available.
But again, even with the availability of those programs that are already available, women still seek out abortions instead.
Because it's a legal choice, and it's the easy way out. Even though there's nothing easy about it, and it's horrible.
Part of your argument that women don't want to get abortions?
I never said that. If women didn't want to get abortions,
you're trying to make it out to be the easy way out. So you're trying to say that. Well,
sorry, what?
You're trying to say that's like quote the easy way out. So you're trying to say that people.
Why is that a bad thing?
because if the easy way out kills a living human being, it's not ethical. I mean, I could say a really easy way out of if I don't want my 1-year-old right now, instead of putting her up for adoption, giving her up to the state, a really easy way out instead of having to deal with all that shame and like giving up on her. A really easy way out would be to kill her right now, but that doesn't make it ethical.
That's not an easy way out. That's objectively not an easy way out. That's such a false equivalency. If you put a 1-year-old up,
If I wanted to,
also don't make it out like adoption centers are these like magical places. Adoption centers are
where
it's not like putting a child up for adoption should not be considered an ethical choice. Adoption centers are horrible right now. They're overpacked. No one like people are attempting to restrict people's ability to adopt. Like the adoption center.
Hannah, you're in your head. Like, what sort do you have to back?
So bad.
Happening.
Sorry, I couldn't hear both of you.
Could you hear what I just said?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Oh.
I just said the adoption system right now in our country is very broken. There are millions.
The foster care system is, but the adoption system is not great. It's not broken though. Almost every single child that goes into adoption system is adopted.
Source?
AmericanAdoptions.com. Here, I'll get it up.
You can if you have a source, you can I'll change it so you can share your screen. So you can just
I don't know if I know how to do that.
Also, I'm pretty sure this is a private institution. Yeah, this is a private. AmericanAdoptions.com is private.
All adoption agencies are private.
But you tried to pass it on, like giving the child to the state.
I said my child to the state, which would be going to foster care, which isn't an adoption agency.
My bad, I misunderstood you. But also,
okay.
But also, like there are the private adoption agencies. There are more than one. Like saying every child is adopted because one place is.
That's what on their website they say that any adoption agency. Like I haven't looked into it enough, but on their website they say foster care is not the same as adoption because any adoption agency, like the one that they are, your child will always be adopted. That's what they say.
Assuming a 100% adoption rate is not.
I don't think 100%, and I'm sure there's some discrepancy in there, but the point is most children, if not all, are adopted. And especially if you're talking about abortion, like me giving up my 1-year-old might be different, but if you're talking about from birth, those children are almost always adopted because the woman chooses the adoptive family before they even give birth, and there's currently 1 to 2 million families waiting for a child, for a newborn.
There are
specifically
many more.
There are many more people who have babies wanting to be up for adoption.
Yeah.
No, there are not. There are 30 times more families for every one child for adoption.
Hold on, let me fact check that real quick.
Where are you getting this number?
I have all the sources on like a Google Doc. I mean, I'll have to search for it. But I'm pretty sure on oh gosh, what is it called?
The thing is, even with adoption as a possible option, there are statistical arguments that are made that like things about like unwanted pregnancy, not just giving birth and having a child. Pregnancy is not like there are negative side effects with that. For instance, women who couldn't terminate their unwanted pregnancy were statistically more likely to stay with violent partners and abusive partners, and that puts their health at risk and their child's health at risk.
Again, I think for these things that you're bringing up, there are better solutions than abortion to fix these issues. That's where we should be spending our time.
But the
Our
reality,
time shouldn't be spent trying to eliminate the child. It should be eliminating the problems that these women go through.
okay, to talk about, but here's the thing. Talk about, like, you talked about people who provide for their child, like, who did you say, let us live or let them live or something? Like people who pay their rent and
Yeah.
people who like give them baby registry items. Would you want um would you want would you would you want someone to stay with a domestic abuser because that people paid their rent? Like, because it's statistically more likely if you can't if you have a pregnancy, you stay with your partner, especially if the partner is the paternal influence on that child.
Especially
Okay.
if, like, we take this into consideration, you would not want your newborn in that household, in that environment.
And I'm not saying they would. I'm saying that we need to do better to fix those problems instead of using abortion as a solution for those, because it's not.
But domestic violence is illegal. It still happened. Like it's proven to be that like
Yeah.
women who are unable to receive abortions or who don't receive abortions are more likely to be in a household where there's an abusive partner.
And there's different ways that we could deal with that. We could do screenings at prenatal appointments for abuse in the home. We could um, give women more resources so they can leave their partners, better women's shelters. I mean, there's tons of things we could do.
Okay,
We
but the
don't need
reality is
to
that we
fix
do
them.
not have those options.
But also, would you would you wanna be a single mother? Like that's the other
I'm a
alternative.
single mother of 2 kids. I'm 21 years old.
Oh shit,
I left an abusive
you are older than I thought. I thought you were like 17. Holy shit.
relationship. No. I got pregnant when I was 19 in college in an abusive relationship. I left that abusive relationship, not saying that my situation is everyone's situation. I left that abusive relationship because a police officer said to me, if you can't do this for yourself, do it for your daughter. I was 6 months pregnant. I almost got an abortion. And I'm not saying my situation is everyone's situation. I'm saying there's ways to help women. That means that we don't have to like kill our children to get out of abusive relationships.
But do you genuinely think, especially okay, I'm not going to make assumptions about your financial situation because that's not my that would be really horrible to do, and second of all, like it's really just not important because but the thing is like if you aren't in a sound financial situation unless you're in that abusive relationship to raise a child and you're denied an abortion, you're going to stay with them in different ways. Again, I don't want to like speak for you. Obviously, like good for you. Like abortions aren't for everyone, but I'm saying I'm not trying to say that like again like pro-choicers aren't you should abort, you should abort, you should abort. Like it's the choice that's important, and people can make that choice, and I'm not opposed to that choice. But again,
Yes.
if you want like there like everyone's situation is different, and that was kind of my point at the beginning. Like it's a circumstantial choice. And there are people who wouldn't be able to afford having a child unless they stayed with their domestic abuser, which is what the stat kind of reflects.
And what I understand what that point, but there are other solutions. I mean, I know we already talked about adoption. You don't need to, pregnancy, financial, all those medical bills are covered through the adoption agency and through the adoptive parents. You don't have to pay for the child. Let's talk about one of the reasons why I support social programs is because they are vital for me and my children's existence. We have tons of social programs right now. Do they need more funding? Yes, but we have social programs to help women. We have WIC, we have SNAP, we have
If you say abbreviations, can you say what they mean? Because I haven't looked at
sorry,
it. I'm sorry.
Women, Infants, and Children is WIC. It provides food, groceries, stuff like that. SNAP is like food stamps. We have rent assistance programs. Um, I know through my hospital, if I take my children to well checkups, they give me $100 in gift cards and visas. I mean, we have programs. We have things to help women. we don't want to empower women by saying it's okay to kill their child because you're relying financially on this abusive person. We want to empower women by saying we have help for you. We can help you and your child so you don't have to rely on this abusive person, and we can just give you a better life in general because you're away from that.
Do you think being pregnant means you're ready to have a child?
No.
Do you want to? Because again, not everybody who's pregnant should be responsibly raising a child, and some of them know that about themselves. But like,
Yes, and that's
let's say
why there's adoption.
let's say there's a like again adoption doesn't solve all problems.
It
And
doesn't solve pregnancy problems, but you're talking specifically about not being able to raise a child.
yeah, again, not again, adoption isn't like none of these programs are accessible to everybody. Excuse me, like assuming because social programs exist does not mean they're acceptable to everybody.
They're accessible to the people that need it, that are under the
Not
poverty line.
not everybody.
Who?
People, it's a vicinity thing. It's a race thing sometimes. Like
I mean, I don't know if you have any basis for these claims, but I don't think places like SNAP and food stamps have any sort of racial preference.
food stamp, well, food stamps aren't for food stamps are just for poor people. Like food stamps are for people. Food stamps are not an abortion specific social program.
Okay, then let's take WIC, for example. Women, infant, and children. You have to be pregnant or have an infant or a child to
What do
be
they
able to
what do they provide?
groceries, food.
Okay, food. That's not enough to sustain a child.
I'm not saying that's enough. I'm saying where's the racial preference? Where's the racial bias?
I didn't say all programs had a racial bias.
Okay, well then give me an example of a social program that does.
Housing, government
Housing?
housing loans, red
Okay,
light.
housing loans. That's not really a social
Yes,
program.
it's part of the New Deal.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, like, are you talking about like rent assistance or like loans through like a bank?
Like federal loans for you to get a house. The social program
Okay.
under that had redlining was entirely racially biased.
Yes.
It was to help poor people, but it was poor white people. It's stuff like that.
Okay, yeah. But there are also places that provide rent assistance that aren't federal programs that aren't racially biased.
Again, assuming the free market is going to take care of everything is not how laws are supposed to work.
And I'm not saying you're supposed to take care of everything. I'm saying that there are programs for that thing
Yes,
and you don't have racial preference.
the existence of private programs is not enough to change a law.
Then why can't we fight for racial preference in federal programs to be eliminated then to change the laws? I mean, like, why can't we advocate for that stuff? I'm saying, why is it just abortion or nothing?
It's not.
Then why are you saying that even if we do fix these problems, it's not? I mean, like, you're saying that you're saying federal programs shouldn't be changed because we have abortion.
Yes, it's an unnecessary expense when contrasted to what we have now. When they solve the same issue,
They don't solve it.
I've already explained to you my reasoning on this. The fact that I don't believe that fetuses have intrinsic value.
And why should your beliefs dictate? Why should your discriminatory beliefs dictate a law?
My beliefs are not discriminatory.
You're
And
saying that certain
my beliefs
human
are my
beings,
beliefs are root, my beliefs are root, my beliefs are rooted in the ethics of the society, of a society.
and my ethics are rooted in the principle of ethics based by Socrates and Plato's, which say all human beings deserve equal treatment and equal value. I'm saying, why do your ethics that discriminate against certain human beings should dictate the laws?
My my ethics are not my ethics are not my own ethics. My ethics I'm approaching this argument from the ethics of how societies are covered. how societies give out rights.
So you're saying just because society has deemed it so, it should be so?
You cut out. I don't know if you said anything else, but I didn't hear everything you said. Can you say that again?
Yeah, I just said, so you think just because society deemed it so, then it just should be so.
That wasn't what I was saying. What I was saying is, in order to be afforded rights in a society, you have to do these things for a society.
And then I ask, what does the newborn do?
The newborn has physical interaction with other people. That's
And
that's enough to participate in a society. You can physically participate in a society. Saying something not born in can interact in society is not true.
I mean, but what is the basis of saying that you're saying participating in a society is what makes someone valuable because society says it says
No,
it so.
participating in a society is not what makes somebody valuable. Those are two different things. Participating in a society is what entitles you to rights under that society.
That's what I was implying. Valuable as in valuable enough to get rights.
There's a difference between having inherent value and having rights. Because rights are not always dictated in the same way that value. There's a difference between moral value and legal value.
Yeah, okay, well I'm saying legal
My
value.
opinions on those two,
Legal value and legal protection.
my opinions on those two things are different. My
Okay,
opinion
well,
my opinion on moral value is the ability to be conscious and rational. My opinion on legal value is the ability to have standing and liability.
to have standing and liability. Can you elaborate on that more?
Standing is the ability to standing is basically the ability to have rights in actually use them, and liability is the ability to take responsibility for your actions both legally and just like at all. Like saying it's like apologizing essentially, not really, but like
Okay, let me ask you this
I
then.
don't really know how to explain it in like a 5 second, not just like reading legal documents about it, but like
Yeah,
that's the best I can do. It's usually meant in a legal context, like taking legal liability, but like it's also just like interpersonal liability within like unofficial contracts and stuff.
okay. I don't really want to get into that too much because I feel like it's too hard to talk about that all right now. But I wanted to ask you, so how do you feel about like fetal homicide? Like if someone kills a pregnant woman, it's double homicide in most states, some states. Or if someone, causes a woman to miscarry, they can be charged with murder.
I don't agree with the latter, but the former should be dependent on where the fetus is in development and whether or not it can be conscious and rational.
Okay, so before 24 weeks, that shouldn't be allowed. It should just be one murder.
Yes, correct.
And you don't agree with the states that have those laws.
Yes.
Why do you think?
No, I don't know what I just agreed to. I'm saying that it should be a single homicide unless the fetus has been deemed to have been conscious and rational. Then it should be a double homicide, and because that's from a moral perspective. From a legal perspective, it should be a single homicide because the fetus is not entitled did not have standing or liability.
Okay, so if a mother was, or we could talk about the man who tricked his wife into taking the abortion pills, and he was charged with murder. So you think he should not be charged with murder?
Yes, correct.
Okay, so you would call that?
That is a very unethical thing to do.
Yes.
That the whole point of being pro-choice is that it should be a choice. But
Yes.
that's not cool. But
so you would tell that woman?
I don't think it should be a murder charge.
So you tell that woman that he didn't kill her baby? You would say to her, he didn't kill your baby. He doesn't deserve to have a murder charge.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I would.
You're the first pro-choicer I think I've ever heard that said that.
Because that's how laws in this country work. That's how laws in this country work.
I mean, I appreciate that you're not just saying like if the baby's wanted, then they should be held accountable. But I also don't agree with that.
The thing is, like, the thing is, like, this is a morality question, and like people who try, like, my morality is twofold. My morality is based in the way laws work and how legal morality is and how laws are actually carried out. And then there's the moral kind of thing. Of course, like I could never, like, morally, I could never look. I don't think I could look that woman in the eye and say that man does not deserve punishment. But legally, I could. If the state forced me to, I would have to do it. Like, if because that man didn't, like, from a legal perspective, that man did not commit murder. Whether or not that's not me passing judgment on the morality of his actions, because that's a horrible thing to do. But
Yes, but
but
in some states it is legally considered a murder.
I'm saying it shouldn't be.
Yeah, I get that. I'm just saying it technically is. I mean, that's very interesting.
Okay. So if it was in a so if, like it, what's do you know what state it was in and whether or not it was illegal in that state?
I can't remember what state it was.
Let's say it was illegal in that state. Like,
Okay.
I would be willing to say it was murder just because it's legally murder. Like, but from my interpretation of the social construct of the way legislation works, it should not be murder. Should there be a punishment for it? Sure, because, like, again, like, I'm pro-choice. I'm pro the woman choosing. Like, that's not a choice. That's objectively not a choice.
Yeah.
And I think abortion should be a consensual process from both the women and the doctors. Like, if you don't want to perform abortions, don't learn how. But like, but again, like, from a legal perspective, from my legal perspective at least, that's not murder. And I think I would be able to look her in the eye and say that. Could I say that dude doesn't deserve punishment? No, I couldn't say that.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a very interesting take. I mean, a lot of people, when I ask them that, they are not consistent with their views. So, I mean, at least you got that.
It's because, yeah, it's just because it's like it's not a straight line, and I think that's the issue. I think in my opinion that's the biggest issue. Morality doesn't always dictate legality. Like, what's wrong with smoking marijuana? Nothing. It's still illegal. That's a whole different problem with the war on drugs that I'm not going to get into. But
Wait, I have another hypothetical question for you, just because I'm very interested in how you would answer it. So, we know that it's legal to smoke, drink while you're pregnant, even if it causes long-term physical health problems to the baby.
sure.
Should that still be legal?
Based on, like, which perspective are you asking for? Just because, like,
Just yours. I mean, in general.
I feel like it's convoluted because, like, I don't think, like, as long as if you have a right to do something, you should be able to do it. I mean, would I say it's moral? Probably not, especially if you're intending on having a child. Like,
So, just because they're legal, I'm asking you, like, if you could make your own laws, would you make that legal or would you make that illegal?
Legal to a certain extent. Because,
what's that extent?
again, it's not our place to dictate, like, because we outlawed alcohol for everybody and it didn't work. Like, people still drank.
Yeah, but I guess my specific question is, you know, a woman ingesting alcohol while she's pregnant is the same as putting an alcohol, you know, a bottle of beer up to a baby and giving it to them. That's the physical, you know, deformities that could come is the same, if not worse, in utero. So I'm saying, would that not be a child endangerment issue? Or is it because it's her body? Does she still get the choice?
Yeah, she has, like, again, I think it should, like, there's a difference between outlawing it and saying it's morally wrong.
Even if it could cause a child to have long-term health problems?
Sure.
Okay, so what would be the difference if I put a bottle of beer up to a newborn? What would be the difference?
Legally?
I'm saying, like, even though it's doing the same thing in utero, but they're still in my body, so it's my choice, then what would be the difference?
Because there's no pragmatic reason to hand a bottle of beer to a baby. Like there's a different like because you're
What's
drinking
the pragmatic reason to ingest beer while you're
because you like beer. Like again, I'm not advocating for people doing that, but like there's just a difference, right? Like you're consuming the beer as well as the baby, but when you hand the
yeah.
bottle of beer to a baby, you're not.
No. What about if I guess this is still technically legal if I drank alcohol and then breastfed my baby, which we know alcohol goes through breast milk.
Yeah, I have no idea about the implications of that scientifically, but like
It's
so
not good.
I don't feel prepared to answer that because I just don't know enough about this breastfeeding.
That's okay.
So
I'm just trying to get at how far can bodily autonomy go? Can I say I don't consent to my baby's arms being inside of me? Can I rip off her arms? I mean, I'm saying how far does bodily autonomy go?
what's the what's the difference? Like the thing is like when you say can you rip off your baby's arms? Like what's the reason for doing so? Like
Because it's my body, my choice.
there's no reason to do that. Like like implying they're identical. Like that's not the same. That's not those situations aren't equivalent.
I'm saying how far does bodily go? Can I do whatever I want with my body, even if it's harming the child inside
I don't
me?
think that's not what bodily autonomy is. Bodily autonomy is whether or not the baby can use your uterus to survive.
Well, I mean, according to pro-choice,
No one's making the argument that no one's making the argument that the fetus is part of your body. They're two distinct organisms.
no, but they're using my body. So what if I don't consent to their arms being inside of me?
That's not this. That's not. No one would do that.
I mean, say, for example, the Yale art student that purposely waited to abort until her children had limbs and then used them for an art project. What if she just wanted the limbs?
What if she wanted the what if she just wanted the limbs?
Yeah, what if she just said, "Hey, I want to cut off their arms so I can use them as an art project instead of aborting them and cutting them up after?"
But she didn't do that. That's the thing is that's not a practical hypothetical because like no like that's not the same thing as an abortion. No one's consent like because the thing is bodily autonomy is the consenting to of the baby to use your uterus. And if you're not aborting, you're consenting to that baby using your uterus.
Yes, but what if I don't consent to
The
their
arms aren't what's consenting to using the uterus. It's the baby.
so it's better. So I'm just saying, why would it be okay to kill the whole child but not just take out some of the child? I mean, like, if it's I'm consenting to what's going to be inside my body, using my body, then why wouldn't that be okay? It's a hypothetical. I mean, it's not something that I don't think has ever been documented, but it's just a hypothetical. Why would, sorry,
Sorry.
go ahead.
I almost just killed myself. But I like it's because like you're like if your intention again if you're like I think it differs in your intention too. Like if your intention is to still give birth, then you should treat like from a morality standpoint. If your intention is to give birth, you should treat the fetus like a child.
Okay.
If your intention is to give birth, you are about to your intention is to bring something into the world that will have standing and morality and that will be conscious and rational. So they have both moral value and legal value. However, if that is not your intention,
So you're saying it's all about intention. So if my intention is to keep the pregnancy, then the child should be viewed as
if your intention is to rip off a fetus's arms and then give birth to an organism with no arms, that's kind of fucked.
yes, it is fucked. But do you know what I also think is fucked? Abortion. I mean, we can talk about how messed up it seems, but it's just if you're talking about what can be inside your body, even if it is a human being, is it okay to do whatever I want with that human being? If I have the legal option to kill the human being, why wouldn't I have the legal option to do whatever I want with it? If I'm allowed to,
You can't You can't do
harm
that.
their physical health by drinking and smoking, if I'm allowed to harm them in any other ways, why wouldn't I be allowed to harm them by taking off their limbs?
Because you can't do that when they're born either. Like you can't keep
Yeah,
something,
but you
you
can't
can't
kill
keep
them once they're born, but you can kill them in utero.
you can't keep something alive. You can't keep something alive and put it into misery. Like why you can't? I've already explained to you why I don't think the fetus has value until 24 weeks. Like if you
Yeah.
if the arm if the arms are like if your weirdly sadistic goal is to give birth to someone who doesn't have arms and watch them suffer, like that there's a difference between that and ending an organism without consciousness or rationality.
Yes, but there's also people who wait until late term abortions to get them done, and not because of
Not
maternal
intentional,
health.
they don't do that because they don't do that because they want to. Also, abortion is currently illegal in every state after 25 weeks, and in every state except Virginia after 24 weeks.
I mean, Cece already brought up the point before that Illinois still does partial births.
Let me look. Let me look. Let me check that.
I don't know if Cece has any links that she wants to.
I'll link it, but I'm pretty sure 6 states allow it up until birth. I know at least New York and Illinois do, and Washington D.C. I think goes to 27 weeks or maybe later. Not sure. I'll find the source.
I know I've read New York laws, and they say up until 24 weeks, but if the woman says she has any sort of mental health problems or has any minor physical ailments, she can still abort. So basically, you could say, like, hey, I have heartburn, and you could still get an abortion. I don't know exactly how lax the laws are.
They're not like
But
not easy.
most late term are elective though.
Yeah, most after 20 weeks are elective.
What do you mean by that?
Like,
They're not done for health reasons.
yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and also basing legislation off the 1.7% of people who get abortions after 21 weeks is
No, I'm not saying that. We still think it's wrong all weeks, but I'm saying you say people don't want the baby to suffer, as much as possible. I'm saying, well, people do wait until late term. I mean, I've had pro-choicers say, maybe in a joking way, but still say that they're going to get pregnant just to wait until late term to abort so the baby feels as much pain as possible. Probably joking, but I'm saying the option is like it's a legal option. People could do that if they wanted to.
I don't think that's a more legal option, but legally it makes sense.
So
Legally,
yeah, I guess, but I mean, at what point do we say that moral things and ethically, well, maybe not ethically, but morally wrong things should be legal?
depends on what you're using for your standpoint is morally wrong.
Yes, but we have to have some kind of standpoint.
Yeah, and usually the standpoint is what entitles people to rights in a society.
I guess, yeah, from your perspective.
It's a pretty commonly shared perspective.
hmm I mean, a lot of people are pro-life.
Yeah, I mean, I meant what simply just what exists. Simply what exists from a. I'm looking for that dude so I can mute him. Um,
Okay, everyone be nice in the comments.
yeah, I haven't seen much in the comments, but
Yeah, don't bully people.
Yeah.
let's not be mean to each other. But I have all I know is I have 71 notifications, and that cannot be good. But
I'm sorry, I'm such a ADHD person. I don't even remember what we were talking about.
I feel that. We're talking about what point it transfers from being a moral
Oh, yeah.
to being a legal decision.
hmm
And like again, like I have a different morality than other people, and so do you. Like we differ on this topic, and which is why I think the legality of it should be dictated by legal standards, not legal moral standards, not individual moral standards.
Yes. But legal moral standards change. Those change throughout history too. I mean, like, there, it's hard because there is no pinpoint. Legal moral standards change, personal moral standards change, even ethical standards change.
But
They change when we have more
if you,
more education. Like Roe v. Wade, when it was decided by the judges, they said we wouldn't be passing this if we knew the unborn were humans. And if that was ever proven true, then it should be overturned. We know they're humans. So, I mean, if they knew that they were humans back then, I don't think that it would have been passed.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but my Wi-Fi is like acting really, really weird. I could have like barely hear you guys the whole time. So Nai's gonna jump in for me. So if you guys don't mind, okay. Sorry about that.
I look insane. I'm doing my hair, so I'm listening, and I'll just talk.
do you want me to start your video now?
Huh?
You want me to start your video?
Oh, I look insane, but yeah, I'll start my video. Hi, I'm in the middle of doing my hair. Hi.
Hi.
Cool. So, oh my God, what were we talking about? Oh, Roe v. Wade.
Legal morality change.
Like the thing is,
Roe v. Wade. Sorry.
If you point to legal morality changing, it's not like what I'm trying to advocate as legal moral standing hasn't changed. It's just people took legal action that didn't correspond with my legal moral standing. Like there was no reason to count black people as 3/5 of a person. People just did it because of racism.
But it was the legal standard at the time.
But that didn't mean it was a moral legal standard. But it was a legal standard.
Yes. So I'm saying legal standards do change.
Yeah, but that's
not the standard for what's moral.
No, but also those morals weren't based in laws. And if you want to argue that your morals, are correct, and I want to argue my morals are correct, which one should be the laws? Like, I'm just saying the legal standards, it's hard to base anything on legal standards because those change.
There's a difference between legal standards and legal standards for legal morality.
Well,
and what constitutes like the contract of individuals interacting with the society.
Yes, but that wasn't held all through history.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean it's not moral.
No, it doesn't mean it's not moral, but I mean, if you're gonna argue that it's the moral legal thing, like right now, then why can't we change it? Like it's been changed. Why can't we just include more human beings? Like pro-life, and at least I know me, Cece, and Jan's perspective is all about inclusivity. Why would we want to exclude human beings? Why wouldn't we want to include all human beings in our rights and our equal protection and our value?
Well, I think that I have these in my notes. I put it in the chat already, but like religious feelings or morality feelings have no place like for public policies of a country that claims to separate church and state. So if you think
arguing religion.
Yeah, I didn't mean it like that. Never mind. Go ahead.
The thing is, like, it's not necessarily inclusive. It's exclusive to women who abortion is the best option for.
I mean, giving one group of human beings rights isn't taking away rights from other people.
Again, giving them rights isn't a sound decision because they aren't entitled to them, and that's my whole argument.
Sorry, I think you cut out. I didn't hear the last part.
My argument is that they aren't entitled to rights because from a social contract perspective, they aren't entitled to rights because they don't fulfill the social contract, which is what entitles someone to rights. My argument is not that being human entitles you to rights. I don't believe that.
And I get that. I'm just saying that is an exclusive position. You're excluding certain human beings. And I'm saying what is the rationale for not wanting to include all human beings?
My rationale is the fact that the reality of a society is the only people who interact with a society are entitled to rights within that society. But the thing is, any form of interaction is an interaction with society. That's why I believe that illegal immigrants are entitled to constitutional protections, because they are interacting within an American society, so they're entitled to like things like due process of law and stuff like that. Like they're entitled to protections under the federal government. Fetuses don't interact in a society in the same way.
But why would interactions in a society give someone more value?
That because it does, because interactions in a society is what forms a society. Otherwise, it's not a society. That's the basis. The basis for society is interaction within a society.
I know, but why do people that don't interact with the society not deserve to not be killed?
Because they don't contribute to the society. So why should the society contribute to them? Because they don't contribute to society. That's the whole point of the social construct, of the social contract.
I mean, I inherently just think that's wrong. I mean, I don't think that you should have to contribute to a society to have the protection to not be killed.
But there's a difference between contributing to society and like I think you're misinterpreting what I mean. Like I don't mean to put words in your mouth, but from what I'm understanding, you're misinterpreting what I mean by interacting with society. Like literally just like being held by a doctor is interacting in society. Like literally any form of like like walking down the street is interacting with society.
I think this goes back to Cece's point. Then why is abortion not okay up till birth?
I didn't because what did you say?
If being in a society, like being held by a doctor, like you said, walking around in a society, if that's what gives someone's value, then why is abortion not okay after 24 weeks, in your opinion? Because babies.
Because that's my moral standpoint.
But you're saying that should be a legal thing too, right?
No.
No? So you think legally we should be able to abort up till birth?
Yes.
Interesting.
Do you have any responses for that aren't just white eyes?
I mean, why do an abortion that takes several days to complete where the mother's birth, give birth to a dead baby when that baby could just be removed and given life? Is it just because it's her body, or is it just because they're not a person yet?
Because they aren't entitled to legal rights and thus can be treated without legal rights.
Okay, but that's what we're trying to change, so why do you keep mentioning that? Why are you not going off of an ethical standpoint? You're just going off of...
It is an ethical standpoint.
No, it's not. To kill a baby right before birth is not an ethical standpoint.
It's a legal ethical standpoint.
We're not talking legality. That's what we're trying to change.
I'm not talking about legality either. I'm talking about what should be legal based on the society.
You're saying that we should be able.
I just can't. Oh, go ahead. Sorry. No, you can go ahead.
Go ahead.
I just can't imagine someone saying that it's okay to kill a baby that can survive outside the womb.
I didn't mean to imply say it was okay by any stance.
You're saying it's legally okay.
Yes, but it doesn't make if I said that, I wouldn't if I fucking did that, I would not sit well with myself.
Okay, but most people agree that's awful. So why are laws being based off of just
because that's how laws are designed to work.
What?
Like you need to have a fundamental understanding of what society is. Society like what a state is and what a society is just interaction between people, and a society and laws within a society are designed to protect those in that society. And fetuses are not in that society.
Okay, but we're not robots. We do have morals, and most people think it's wrong to kill a baby right before it's born. I'm saying, why are we not basing it off of the moral, it's almost an objective thing, because I think everybody can agree here that it's wrong to kill a baby right before birth. So why are we not basing it off of that instead of what you can contribute to a society? Because they're the same human being. It's literally just location. They're interacting with their mom, So if they can interact with your mom outside of the womb, that's also contributing to it.
But if it can't stand on its own outside of the womb, it's completely dependent on someone else's bodily function.
We're talking about late term. We're talking about 34 weeks. So that baby can be dependent without the mother. Why is that still okay?
Again, there's okay. I realize that I'm sounding like a complete radical here. Like, again, like I would never advocate for like abortions to happen at 36 weeks. Like that's like I wouldn't agree with that.
But you're saying it's legal.
That's where my moral and legal standpoints differ. Like, there's a different like that again. That's why it's a choice.
All right, guys. I think we're kind of circling on this point here. Like,
but moral and legal standards have to coincide with each other. You can't have a legal standard that's not moral. That makes no sense.
We have lots of them.
What?
We have lots of them.
Okay, but not if it kills a human being. Like,
What
why do you think?
Penalty? We have that legal standard.
What?
We have legal standards. We have legal standards that kill people.
Yes.
But you say you're against the death penalty, right?
I am against the death penalty, but like to argue that legal standards have to be moral is fundamentally like.
But let me ask you this: are you actively fighting to end the death penalty? Or are you saying it's fine because so you're saying you're against it, but it should be legal?
No. I haven't gone to a protest for the death penalty.
No,
That's what I thought you meant. Like,
no,
no.
I just meant like, do you vote against the death penalty? Do you do things that would make the death penalty illegal at some point?
Yeah.
Okay, so even though the death penalty is by legal morality standards ethical, you're still against it.
It's not. It's not. Because it deprives people of their rights within a society, even though they have standing and liability. It's not ethical by standards of society.
Okay.
You do realize that something is an unjust law if it doesn't coincide with moral code. Like, you can't just have laws going around that are unjust. We've had that before. It doesn't work.
Yeah, I know. I'm arguing that this law is just that like abortion being legal is legally just. I'm not saying like the death penalty is unjust because it infringes on a human being's rights that has standing and liability, and because they contribute to that society, and they are active participants in that society. There's a fundamental difference between a fetus in utero and someone about to get the death penalty.
Yeah.
But yes, I don't know what I was about to say. I just started talking. Ignore me.
I'm just reading the chat, seeing if one person wants to, if anybody had any points that we should talk about. Do you guys have anything else you want to talk about? Someone said I think with the mental and physical health stuff, it has to be proven by a doctor. Do you guys know if that's true?
I don't know for sure, but I mean,
I didn't look up to late term. I didn't look into late term abortion because I didn't expect to be arguing about late term abortion.
Someone in our live has a point. They said a lot of disabled people can't move and walk within society. They're trying to compare that to a baby or a fetus not being in society.
I think your point is they have to be born. They have to be born to have rights, right?
Essentially, that's my point. Like,
okay.
Whether or not like my morals don't agree with that, but like that to me is how a society should function. Essentially, just from my strict interpretation of what society is.
Yeah, I just definitely.
I don't think we're gonna come to an agreement on this.
No.
Like, that's just what I'm trying to debate.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, I mean, I know you don't mean to be offensive by what you say, but someone who's like 34 weeks pregnant right now, that's like super horrifying to me to hear someone say that. But like, I get why you're saying it.
I'm not like,
I obviously don't agree.
I don't mean to be I'm not like an advocate for abortion. No one's an advocate for abortion. Like, no one's like, yes, everybody should be aborted. Like,
I've heard a lot of things.
There are a lot of people saying that actually, but I get
A lot of people.
Yes, but it's eugenicists and racists. Someone commented on one of my videos that all black people should be aborted.
Yeah, that's
I was
horrible.
like, whoa, easy. Yikes.
Yeah.
But like, most people who actually take the time to think about abortion rights are not like for everyone getting an abortion.
Yeah, or not just trying to be purposely inflammatory.
Wait, hey guys, could I step in for a bit?
Yeah, do you want to step in for me?
That.
Yeah, because Hannah just messaged me saying that if it's okay for me to step in.
Yeah, no
Yeah, I
problem.
gotta go.
No problem. Don't worry about it.
All right. Thanks, Jan.
Yeah. Okay.
You
So,
can,
hold up.
you can turn your video on too if you're gonna talk.
Yeah,
Here, let me do it. I think I can do it.
okay. Okay. So, no one is claiming that you think you want everyone to be aborted.
Yeah. No, I'm not claiming that.
No, yeah, I'm not claiming that you want that. But we're just saying, like, if you're... Well, what are you guys talking about?
Late term abortion. The difference between legal morality and ethical morality.
Okay, but... Sorry, I was kind of looking at the
chat.
Messages. Yeah. So what were you guys talking about?
I was advocating that, like, again, this is also influenced by the fact that I believe that personal morality shouldn't influence legislation. And if you're going to have legislation, it should reflect the way society is meant to be governed. And society is meant to be governed for those who interact with that society.
But that's why Hannah was asking you, what does a newborn provide for society?
I didn't say they provide for society; they interact with it. The interaction with it.
But shouldn't that just be based on being human, though?
No, that's not how society was meant to be governed. Society wasn't meant to be governed for humans. Society was meant to be governed for people who interact in society.
Okay, wait, can I ask you again? So I
Yeah.
talked about this before, but I didn't really, gauge what you're trying to say. I talked about PBS patients, and at that moment that they're not interacting with anything, you said, even if it was just for, a couple minutes, would it be okay to kill them? Is it because they're already born and they have interacted, or what?
Sorry, can you repeat that? I heard like half of it. I turned my volume.
Okay, I was just asking why, if a PBS patient was in a coma for, let's say, a month, not even, would it be okay to kill them in that span of time, according to you, because they're not interacting with society, right?
No, they are. They are physically interacting with society.
How are they interacting with society? Explain what you mean by that.
Because they're physically present within society.
Okay, but a fetus is physically present in society. It's just location.
Yeah. They're not. They don't have capacity to interact with society because of their location.
What do you mean interact with society? You mean interact?
Yeah. What do you mean by that? That's where you're confusing me.
Because interact with society is just like the capacity, like the physical capacity to participate in a society. Like let's say like I'm gonna give a hypothetical. Let's say someone gives birth on Antarctica and just leaves the child there and they like immaculately survive. This is like the best way I can think to explain it, so I'm very sorry. But like if you give birth to a child on Antarctica and leave them there and they survive to live to be 20, that 20-year-old is not entitled to federal protection of the United States government because they don't interact with our society. Like you don't like.
Are they okay to kill them just because they don't interact with our society?
No, because if someone were to kill them, that would be an interaction with society.
No, but if someone
But
else,
I mean, if you're killing them in the womb, then that's interacting with society.
It's really not. Like medical.
It is, because you're literally sticking something in to kill the baby and take it out.
Medical interaction is not. Medical abortion is not an interaction with society.
how is it not? You're literally interacting with the fetus in the womb. You're killing them. What?
If you take a pill.
What? Oh, if you take a pill? So the mother's doing that then. she's killing them. That's still
The
interaction.
mother is taking the mother is taking a pill. The mother's not the fetus isn't doing anything. Again,
Exactly.
there's also certain capacities that you have to have to. There's also certain biological capacities that you have to interact with society. For instance, if you don't have a brain, how are you going to interact with any society?
Wait.
Like if you don't have a brain or the capacity to move, the capacity to breathe, you just simply do not have the biological capacity to interact with society.
Okay, but you said that you're legally late-term abortion should be fine, and they have the capacity to do all of that. They can do all of that.
But they're not. They're not interacting with society.
Yes, they are. They're literally kicking in their mother's womb.
That's not an interaction with society. That's an
How
interaction.
is that not? It's an interaction with their mother.
Someone's telling me to take intro to bio.
Hmm.
I didn't say it wasn't alive. When did I say it was? When did I say it wasn't
I
alive?
think I talked to someone else in chat.
Oh, okay. Because I got confused. Yeah. So.
Because you were talking about how the fetus wasn't physically doing anything when they were being aborted by the pill. So you're basically basing interaction with society on physical ability. And the fetus is physically kicking in the womb.
That's just not the same thing. That's a false.
Explain what you mean then, because you haven't really given a clear answer. What do you mean by interaction with society?
Because it's really ambiguous. Like it's meant so that interacting with society. Whoever it is, I'm gonna mute you.
I think you need to further explain what you mean by interacting with society, because, like you said, like
again, being
if
physically.
you're surrounded and you, like there's no one there, it's not okay to kill them because then you're interacting with a society.
Being physically.
That makes no sense.
Sorry, what?
How are you interacting with society if someone's killing you?
How you are or you're not?
Yeah, how are you?
Wait.
If someone's killing you?
Couldn't you say, like, if you were surrounded and then CC asked, is it okay to kill them? And then you said no because you've been interacting with society.
Yeah, because you can speak to them or at least make sounds or like show you're non-hostile. That's an interaction.
So by interacting, you mean speaking.
Being physically present.
You're physically present when you're in the womb.
No, you're not. You're not.
Yes, you are. That's how that woman is pregnant.
You're not physically present within members of society.
Yes, you
the
are.
woman is a member of society.
Calling the womb part of society is not logical.
Yeah,
the woman in society.
Literally,
you're still in the womb.
The only thing that separates them is like a wall, the uterine wall.
Yes.
That's the only thing.
Mm-hmm.
The woman is still part of a society. She has the womb. The womb is a part of the society, and the child inside of the womb is. They're interacting with the mother.
No, I had to leave for like 10-15 minutes, but I'll just be in for that time.
Okay.
I'm just gonna leave this chat open so I can see if people are talking, but because I keep missing things. But yeah, like, sorry, what were you grilling me on? I forget.
Basically, like you said that you weren't physically present if you're in the womb, but like that's how a woman is pregnant because there's someone in her womb. They're physically present in her womb.
Not physically present. The womb isn't part of society.
Yes, because the woman is a part of society, and the womb is part of the woman.
The womb is part of the woman, not part of society.
The woman is part of society.
The womb is an organ.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, we're not talking about the womb though. We're talking about the child, the fetus. Let's call it a fetus because I know you don't like child. But
emotion, first of all. But
no. It wasn't for emotion. It's just a child. I'm not gonna get into that because that's not the argument. The argument's not the words that I've used. But like the fetus is physically present in the society because they exist.
In the womb.
They're physically present. Just because they're inside a woman does not mean they're not physically present. That's how the woman is pregnant.
The reason that being in the womb is different from being outside the womb is because you do not have the physical capacity to interact with society. Being in the womb does not mean you're interacting with society because you aren't interacting because you're just not interacting with society. Like a fetus in the womb is contained to the womb. It has no capacity to interact with society.
Well, it's interacting with the woman, and the woman is part of his society. You mentioned how interacting with the society is being physically present and like with other people, right? Interacting with other people. But if the fetus is physically present in the woman, or they're kicking in the woman's womb, they are interactive with her, and she's part of a society.
Yes, but she's not society. Interacting with the society.
But like the fetus in the womb can literally like act differently according to the mother too. It interacts with the sounds outside of the womb, obviously. Like they react differently because you can hear from inside of the womb.
Yes, but it's not interacting with them. It's
Okay, would you?
reacting.
But
Reacting does not prove interaction. It's not an interaction. Interaction goes both ways.
exactly. So like when the mom feels the baby kicking or turning, they're physically interacting with it.
Again, it's not.
It's not like society though. It's that one.
Society can interact with a fetus.
Exactly. Okay, so if me and Cece were in a room surrounded in like I don't know an island, does that not count as society?
Define what?
Because you said one person is not
society equal. Is like there's norms, there's conforming to norms. You know.
What?
That's like how you define a society is like individuals conforming to norms.
If two
like
people,
for a definition of society, like that's what I would say.
Society is more than two people. A society is a group. A society is a group all conforming to the same norms.
Yeah, exactly.
So is a baby just interacting with their mother then, like not interacting with the society?
That's what I was trying to get at.
That's what I'm saying. Yes, it's not interacting with the society.
So then you can kill a baby outside of the womb, just if it's interacting with its mother?
No, because
it's just interacting with its mother and not a society. So you're saying, but okay,
because literally from the second it's born, it's interacting with more than one person.
If someone put their hand on a mother's belly and the fetus reacted to that and was kicking because of that, or they put like headphones on the mother's belly, the fetus would react to that. They're reacting to more than just the mother. They're reacting to everything.
It's reacting to essentially stimulus. It's not really reacting. It's not like it doesn't have facial recognition. It doesn't have like recognition within someone else putting a hand on the mother's belly. And also the only person it's interacting with is the mother because it's still kicking the uterine wall.
So now you're saying facial recognition is interacting with a society.
Yeah, you keep changing it.
I'm really not. Like that I keep expanding the definition of interacting because it's not as narrow-minded as you guys think it is.
Okay, so what is it? Explain everything then, because you keep just saying one thing or the other. We don't really know exactly what you're saying, so we can't argue it.
An interaction with society is the ability to, or not the ability. It's like being physically present is a key concept in interaction with a society. Being physically present within that society or within.
Yeah, just need a tab.
It's not physically present. It's in the womb.
Okay, so would you say someone in a room separated from other people is not interacting with the society? Like they don't count because they're not with other people? They're separated by a wall?
No, because they've interacted with society before. Like no one.
But at that moment, they're not. At that moment, they're not. Just like in the womb, at that moment, the fetus is.
Because they have interacted with society.
You're kind of just like basing it off social, like how they are socially. So is the person that interacts with more people throughout their life more valuable than the one who hasn't?
Yes or no question. It's not. Your value doesn't increase. Your value is given once you interact with society. Then you are fully entitled to rights in that society because that's how society works.
Okay, but fetus does interact with society. Because by that logic, then you could kill the person in the room that's not interacting with them.
No.
You said interacting with the society. You didn't say they were interacting with the society, but now they're not, so it's not okay to kill them. You said interacting with the society. So when they are not, if they are in a separate room, it would be okay to kill them.
No.
Why
I
not?
never said anything like that.
According to your logic, yeah.
According to my logic, I just said once you interact with the society and do not if you don't lose the capacity to do so, you have interacted with society. If you don't lose the capacity to interact with society after interacting with society, you retain the value as long as you retain the ability.
Yeah, a fetus also has interaction with the society. That's what we're saying.
What interaction?
With the mother and the people that are feeling their belly. It's not just like you keep changing it is what I'm saying.
I haven't changed it.
You were. At first you were saying it's a physical thing, and then you were saying they have to be able to see, and then you were saying that if they have interacted but they're not interacting now, then it still counts.
I never said. First of all, I never said they had to be able to see.
Well,
You said facial recognition.
I said fetuses don't have that. That doesn't. That didn't define. I did mention facial recognition, but like that was an attempt to prove that like kicking the mother's belly is not an interaction with a different person. It's like you can't like fetuses only have the capability to interact with the mother, and calling it an interaction is.
Okay, so why is it not interacting with a society? Wait, I forgot how I was gonna word that. Because you're saying they're just interacting with one person, right?
Yeah, within a society.
So when they're interacting with two people, does that count as society?
Tell me how a fetus interacts with multiple people.
What do you mean?
Like there is no possible way for a fetus to interact with more than one person.
Well, Hannah did mention it like before I got here, saying like they'll move with the light if you flash a light in the tummy. They'll move with it, and anyone can do that.
Okay, but the only person just fell over.
So you have to be able to interact with more than 1% of the time. Is that what you're saying?
Can I add something real quick?
Sure.
I just wanted to add that, like, an ultrasound tech, like, it's not just the mother. An ultrasound tech can move the probe and shake your belly to make the baby move, to make them move their arms, make them yawn. It's not just the woman that they interact with. You can interact with any person. Sorry, go ahead.
Physically interact with one person. You have no physical capacity to interact with more than one person. The only person who can feel a baby moving is the mother.
You can feel the belly though. If you place your hand on a
and it kicks, who are they kicking?
They're kicking.
They're not kicking your hand.
But you're feeling it with your hand. You're
not, again, I've said this from the start. You have to be able to physically interact with society.
No, she just said though that.
I guess you're just not explaining it well because you are interacting with people in society.
The fetus interacts with other people besides the women. Sometimes I'll move my hand over my mom's belly when she's pregnant, and they will interact with me. They will kick my hand.
The fetus's foot is not touching your hand.
So you have to be able to touch him?
Again, physical interaction within a society. I've said
so you and I are in the same room. Are we not interacting unless we're touching each other? That makes no sense.
Physical presence is having a physical presence within society.
And again, a fetus is physically present in the womb. They're still there. Wherever the mother goes, the fetus is always there.
If you're in the world, then you're in the society. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. You don't have to be born to be in a society. The fetus is still there.
By that logic, someone in China is entitled to due process of law in literally every country.
No. We're saying if you're in the United States, but you're in the womb, you're still in the United States.
It's not right to kill a person in China just because they're not in our society.
It's why you can't go find prisoners in other countries.
What?
Like because they're not within United States society. They have protections of a different society.
Wait, I don't really get your point.
Yeah, I don't.
Sorry guys, I've been so distracted this entire time, but
Oh, yeah, it's fine.
I've been trying to like look at my notes, but
From a legal standard, fetuses do not interact with society. That's just a fact.
They do. I don't know where you're getting that from. Like, can you please provide sources or something? Because all I'm hearing is your opinion. And it's our opinion that they do. So all we're arguing right now is opinion. It's not a fact. They are interacting with the mob. They are interacting with other people, touching the belly. They're interacting with the society. There's just location.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I haven't denied that. Location matters.
Location does matter, but you're still not allowed to kill someone like you said in China. It's still wrong to kill them.
Because of Chinese law, not because of American law.
Literally, you're basing all of this off of legality. We're trying to change the law. So why are we arguing from the law?
Because I'm arguing on the basis of a social contract. Because we all fulfill a social contract.
Oh my gosh, can you please provide your
Fetuses
sources?
don't fulfill a social contract.
They do, though. They're literally interacting. They're existing.
Okay, so if we were like in separate rooms, but we were like talking to each other, is that interacting or no? Because we're not physically in the same room. There's just walls between us. Is that not physically interacting?
Both of which are in society.
I'm asking you, if you were like on this stranded island, I don't know, and it was away from society.
The contents of someone's body part of society is like that's like saying. I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I was providing. No, you guys are saying the womb is part of society. You both.
No, we said the woman is part of society, and the little fetus is in the womb.
Stomach part of society?
Yes, the womb is not the womb. The fetus is.
So the contents of your stomach are part of society.
I didn't say womb. I didn't say stomach. I didn't say organ. I said the fetus, the human.
Yes, the fetus is within a womb. The contents of your stomach are within your stomach. It's illogical to call the contents of.
No, I'm not talking about organs. I'm talking about the human inside the organ.
Yeah, I'm talking about other things.
Are they physically in the womb? Yes or no?
Did I ever deny that?
I don't know. You say that they're not in the society, but they are in the society if they exist.
Existence does not mean you're in a society.
Existence in.
It literally does mean you're in a society.
Are the contents of your stomach within society? Do they interact with society?
Contents and a human being are two different things.
Not really.
Because if I eat a strawberry, the strawberry is not the same as the fetus.
Why?
Because the fetus is a human being. The strawberry isn't.
Philip, neither of you have actually told me why you value human life, other than the fact that it's human life.
Because we value our own species.
Oh, okay, why?
Because we provide for each other.
That's not why. That's a result of valuing your own species.
But that's why.
You're saying you value your own species because you value your own species.
No, I said because we provide for each other.
Yes, and why do you provide for each other? That is not a reason. That is a result.
It is a reason. We help each other, like provide each other with food, provide each other with protection. We provide for each other. That's why we don't kill each other.
Humans are valuable. It goes this reason. Therefore humans are valuable. Therefore we provide for each other. It's not we provide for each other. Therefore humans are valuable. That's not a logical progression. That's starting with a conclusion. You can't use the conclusion to prove the premise.
Well, you can't say they're not valuable and then, because if you say they're not, why are they not valuable then?
I explained to you why I believe human life is valuable. And fetuses
don't. Why you think it's valuable?
Yes, I've explained that to you. The ability to.
I wasn't here. Hannah was here.
The ability to be conscious and rational. Fetuses are neither conscious nor rational.
Fetuses are conscious at some point.
Yeah, at some point. And that's when they obtain value.
You're still fine with it then.
I didn't say I was fine with it. This is intersecting into morals. Just because it's wrong, just because in my morality it's wrong, doesn't mean like if my partner.
Laws are supposed to be based off of moral code.
Based on what?
Moral code.
What says legal? What has ever said legality equals morals?
I said moral code.
Yes. When have the constructs of society ever conformed to an individual's moral code?
Literally in all the laws we make. Why it's wrong to kill a human. Why it's wrong to rape a human. Because it has to coincide with moral code.
Why is it wrong to steal?
Because it goes against the social construct.
Okay, so then why is it okay to kill? Is it okay to kill?
No, because it goes against the social construct.
And you're killing an embryo and fetus in the womb.
So would it be okay to kill all? Would it be okay to kill all humans in the womb then?
Yes,
Do
I
you have a reason for it?
thought that was kind of clear.
Just so no, like just all of them, so that we would die off. Would that be okay?
Legally, yes. Like you say.
See, that's what Caesar keeps bringing up. Why are you bringing up legality? Because we're not talking about. We're trying to change the law.
Yes, I'm aware. There's a difference between,
Also, you're saying like you're not pro-abortion because you don't want everyone to get aborted. Yet you're saying you're okay with that.
There's a difference between passive. There's a difference between passive acceptance and when did I say I was pro-abortion?
No, I said you're saying you're not pro-abortion because you don't want every pregnancy to end in abortion. But now you're saying you'd be okay with it. That makes no sense. You're literally just contradicting yourself.
I'm not pro-abortion because it's an individual moral choice. That's not because
Yeah, you're arguing from a legal standpoint, all that benefits of society and stuff, but that's what we're trying to change. We're trying to change your
something being
thought
legal.
process.
Something being illegal or legal does not change its contribution to the social.
Wait, repeat that?
Something being illegal or legal under law does not change its morality according to the social construct or the social contract. Sorry.
Yeah, but social contract isn't also the dictator of.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
That's entirely what society is.
No, I'm saying the dictator of morals, not society or laws.
That society and laws are what's dictated. I'm arguing that abortion should be protected because under the social contract because.
Yes, I recognize that. I'm saying that social construct isn't what dictates someone's own personal morals. That's all I was saying.
Okay, yeah, I agree with that. But
we should base our laws off a moral code.
That's where I fundamentally disagree. Because the social contract is not only how laws are created, but how laws are supposed to work. Like laws are supposed to protect people in society.
Well, a fetus is in a society. All that separates it is a wall, a womb. And so it's not protecting them.
Not to mention that until
there's a reason it's a double homicide to kill a pregnant woman because it also kills the fetus, even though they weren't interacting with the society.
Yeah, and I don't think the social contract would agree with that.
Okay, well the law does agree.
Yeah, the law also agrees that abortion is legal.
Because it's a hypocrite.
And that's what we're trying to change.
So why are you so now you guys are bringing in law?
No, it's been you the whole time.
And you just brought it in,
yeah,
brought
I
it
did.
Double homicide.
I did. I was you were going off of law.
Why is the chat literally
Going.
they're talking about rape in the chat now, so
Honestly, this has been going on for 2 hours now. So I think
this has been 2 hours. And we haven't even covered every argument yet.
We don't objectively have to cover every argument, but this has been really fun. Thanks guys.
It's been this has been the most interesting, actually. Not the most interesting. The second most interesting debate I've ever watched. But
was the first one where we all debated this pro-lifer who didn't know what abortion was?
Yeah.
What the heck?
It was.
You guys are actually really, really smart. All of your arguments were good. I'm still pro-choice, obviously, but all of your arguments were good, and all of our arguments were good. So obviously, we can agree on that. That we both had good arguments, you know.